I'm a simple person, more simple than you can imagine. The West exaggerated my name. Please leave me alone. I only have a few more days, weeks, or months. I want to...
Well, Mark Zaid is a lawyer for more than 50 relatives of Lockerbie victims and joins me live now from Washington. Mark, thanks so much for speaking to us. This has been a long time coming for victims and their families. How are you feeling now on hearing that Abu Masood has been formally charged by the US?
Well, it's a somber day as the 32nd anniversary, of course, of the bombing. And normally we would be meeting in Arlington National Cemetery in Virginia, as well as when those in Scotland, in Lockerbie, would meet. But because of COVID, we did everything virtual this year. This has been a long time coming. Justice delayed is justice denied. We've been waiting for years for additional indictments against individuals connected to the Gaddafi regime, especially in the wake of Gaddafi's collapse in 2011. So this was good news. We don't think it's done yet, but this is good news.
Have you managed to speak to any of the families that you represent to get their reaction?
Yes, in fact, there was one family member, the head of the family group, Cara Manetti, who lost her brother Rick, one of the Syracuse study abroad students who were on board the plane. She spoke with Attorney General Barr at the ceremony today, and I've spoken with her and her family, as well as a number of other family members. And it's a mix. It's always a mix on this day. And 32 years later, I think I heard the Attorney General say something like a third of Americans, and maybe across the world, were not alive on that day. Yet for those especially who lost their children, although I don't want to diminish anyone who lost their spouses or their siblings or parents, but those particularly who lost their children, it's as if not even one day has gone by.
So prosecutors will now seek the extradition of Mr. Masood to stand trial in the US. How confident are you that the Libyan government will hand over Mr. Masood?
Yeah, that's a great question. The Attorney General was asked that. He said he was optimistic. I'll point out that the United States and Libya do not have an extradition treaty with one another. So it would have to be that Libya would surrender Masood to the United States. He is allegedly in Libyan custody, and the current leadership of Libya views him as someone connected to the Gaddafi regime, which is an opposite regime. But there will be politics in Libya, no doubt, surrounding this. So I'll just say I will wait till I see it before I actually believe it.
Yeah, I mean, Abdelbaset Al-megrahi was the only person ever convicted over the bombing in 2001. These two suspects, are they the real perpetrators, in your opinion, of this crime, or are there others?
Even back at the time when FEMA, who was acquitted in the Scottish proceeding, which was actually in the Netherlands under Scottish law, Scottish rules of evidence and procedure, and Megrahi being convicted, both were said to be Libyan intelligence officers. And given the Libyan structure of the Gaddafi regime, there was no way that those two individuals, or Megrahi alone and Masood, whatever role he might have played in building the bomb, perpetrated this act without actually taking instructions from the Libyan government itself, Gaddafi, all the way up to the top. That's why I was particularly hopeful in the wake of Gaddafi's demise almost a decade ago, and the powers that took over, taking into possession some additional government leadership. In fact, the United Kingdom had in their custody some senior intelligence officials during the Gaddafi regime who they helped then relocate. And we've never heard anything about what role that they might have played. So I do think there are a number of other people out there, including FEMA, who's still alive in Libya, who could be brought to justice.
OK, Mark, thanks so much. Mark Zaid joining us there from Washington.